Video is on. Can everyone hear us? We got Freya in here. We got Kiltor in here. Oh, I should definitely turn narrates off.
Podcasting.
Nice. There we go. Okay, great. They can hear us. So, welcome back to the MUME podcast. I know it's only been a week since our last one, but it's good to see you guys. That was in case people are tuning into this and not realizing it's been much longer than that. Honestly, it's been like 2 or 3 months since the last one.
Last one was in December, I believe. So.
Wow.
Yeah, so about 3 months then.
Well, we've been on creative hiatus. We've been kind of on.
Exactly.
We've been getting back to our podcasting roots and really thinking about who we are as podcasters. So
yeah, been doing some meditation in like the Himalayas. But a lot has happened in that time, and we specifically wanted to do this one because a couple months ago, I think it was months ago, yeah, the MUME Questionnaire was released. And we all got to have our input on the game. And the last time that we did a kind of official MUME Questionnaire, you guys would have the numbers. This was like, what, in 2010 or something, right?
Oh, no, before that. It was.
I think it was 2000, dude.
Oh, in 2000? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
It was pre-September 11th. Yeah.
it's been, oh God, I don't even want to say this, but it's been almost a quarter of a century since the last time we had a large-scale feedback on the game. Anyway, so this initiative was mostly led by Finwe and Freya. So huge shout out to them for compiling this, editing it, making it look good, and had the questions make sense. I know they put a lot of effort into this. And we have Finwe on the cast with us today, if you want to say hi, Finwe.
Hello.
And he's going to be helping walk us through the results. They compiled it into this just data sheet, which we're going to go through here, and he's going to kind of, like I said, walk us through it. But before we do that, Finwe, you want to give a quick, for people who don't know, you want to kind of give a quick introduction to yourself?
Okay, sure. I'm from the UK. Not to say that in an American accent, sorry. I started playing MUME in 1999, just at the end of MUME 6. And got pretty addicted. And then started building. Back in probably 2000-ish. And that project was pretty challenging for a number of reasons.
What project was it?
It was in Rohan.
No, still
nice. Still in process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening on that. Don't have any news on that. But maybe it will come out at some point.
We can do next year. We can do a quarter century check-in on the Rohan project. Maybe we do that every 25 years. We check in on it. Yep.
It was. There was some issues there. I mean, I don't know all the story, but there was the supervisors didn't tend to stay the course. That was one thing I remember.
Sweet.
I think it was a lot different back then, if I remember right. Like just the way MUME was developed 5 years ago was definitely a bit different than now.
Yeah.
It was the Wild West, right?
Yeah, pretty much. From what I remember, I mean, maybe other people can speak to that, but I kind of remember.
That's what I find so interesting about the pod is that when we have like Manway, or we have like the OGs, like the true original implementers, their attitude was very much like, okay, somebody new came on, let's see what you can do. Where do you want to take the game? Like more people were like dramatic new evolutions and new, like entirely new kind of dimensions and perspectives of creativity, and that was now I think very much it's very different. I don't think we're quite as open to new contributors changing it. But like when we interviewed Eru, which I still think is like my all-time favorite episode, like he was very, very, very focused in the early days on like new people coming in and having like bold new visions and really taking the game. But I feel that's probably the 30 year time frame ago.
Honestly, the management of MUME, like just like the way that the management structure itself would make a really interesting like deep dive documentary, like just like seeing its progression and then using that as like an analysis, like a case study for how kind of community projects that are long lasting kind of will evolve. Because I feel like this is a not a very unique story in the sense that like I'll bet this parallels a lot of other people's stories and how the
because people have they've come and gone, and there's been a few people that have been around since the very early days, but a lot of the developers, they kind of come and go, and real life and families and all this other stuff take over. So it's fascinating. There's of these different eras of of when the game was developed and what that looked like in the 90s, the early 2000s, and kind of 2010s till now.
I just want to say, Relum entered the chat, and he is currently watching us without audio. So I don't know what you're doing, Relum, but I know we're annoying.
He's communing in spirit, dude. He's just feeling.
Yeah.
He's just feeling the pod vibes, dude.
Oh, he does say he has audio, but there's this little.
Oh, okay.
All right, cool. All right. Anyway, back on track here.
We're holding hands across the internet, and that's it. Yeah.
We got a little sidetracked here. All right. Anyway, so back to Finwe. So, what specifically have you been working on recently, and how did that transition into the questionnaire? And then let's hop into the questionnaire.
Okay. Yeah, I've been working on a project.
Rohan?
Sort of, at the moment, and last year, there was, I was waiting for. I can't remember the exact timeline, but there was a period when I was waiting for a view for a long time. So I got perhaps more involved with Questionnaire, which shout out to Freya. She did the first version of that, really. Then I jumped in and added quite a number of questions. If you've done the Questionnaire, you'll know what I mean. To it, and I kind of wanted to get into it. A lot of the things that I was thinking about, and some of the things, if you remember back, people on Discord will remember perhaps a voting thread that I ran for a while, one that in the old forums when they were a bit different.
You also pushed out all the like the Google group for MUME, right? The Google email list or thing it was.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I took a long break from MUME, actually, between about 2008 and 2020.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That is a long break, dude. I've never taken a break that long.
No. And I came back and I just thought, where is everyone? There's no one. There's hardly anyone here. And I was thinking, we got to do something about this. And so I started thinking about what we can do about it, and I started. I think I encouraged people to vote on TMC, as it was at the time, which is now gone, which is the Mud Connector. And we got that. I think we finished 1 month in top place, Christmas 2020, around that time. And we were, it's like, that was useful. And anyway, I was doing quite well, and I was doing various other things to see if we could get more people, more new players joining, and I don't know, coming up with some ideas, and anyway, relatively recently got building again. I don't want to say exactly what it is, but I'm working on that at the moment.
It's the new Bree rebuild, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, so all right, real quick before we hop in here, one big question. So, was this questionnaire project? Was this just like your idea / Freya's, and like, you want to push it, or was this like coming from someone up higher, and they were like, "Hey, we want you to do this thing"? Who initiated this? How did it start?
I'm not exactly sure who came with the idea first, but certainly Relim started a thread on Discord about having a new questionnaire.
Relim.
Yeah, so shout out to him for that. And he's helped us as well with some testing of the original questionnaire, and play testing, if you like, and reviews and of the report as well. So yeah, thanks to him. Thanks to Lamia as well, especially helping with the report. He helped do quite a lot of the charts, or helped with those. So yeah, no, it was a group effort. Who else? yeah, back at Endo as well. Endo, sorry, for other ideas, for reviews, and yeah, a
Cool.
bunch of us really.
Cool. So this is basically just another community-led effort. I love it. I love it. Those are my favorite kind. My favorite kind.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, let's
look at
hop in. Okay, let me make sure switching scenes here is complicated. All right, we got that. Is there a chat in this one? I think so. Here, test.
it. It was quite an extensive
Nice.
questionnaire.
Yeah. All right. So here we go.
It took-
We got it pulled up here. Finwe, in
Are
order
you
to
sure? I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it on the stream, dude.
it should
Like,
be- you don't see it right now?
I still see beginning shortly on the stream.
Try refreshing.
Okay, I see a live. I do have a live badge. So it appears to be the. Oh, here we go. Oh, there you go.
Where should I be looking as well? Should I be logging to Twitch and looking?
Yeah, it's on Twitch.
Yeah, hop on Twitch.
yeah.
I can also share it on Discord, but that might get a little weird. So,
No, dude, that's gonna kill us. That's gonna
Yeah.
take us down.
So-
Whenever we
Overload
share
your
on,
internet.
well, yeah, whenever we share on Discord, it destroys the pod. So screw that.
gets messy. But yeah, so if you can just hop on Twitch, or you can
Oh, the
just
beard's looking good, dude. I didn't know you were rocking the beard.
yeah, man. Well, dude, this is after a shave. We're back in the scruff era. I had a full
Oh,
beard
you're
before.
rocking the. Okay. This is okay, groomed.
How long is the beard?
I was channeling
So you
my
got-
inner Aragorn.
It's his scruff,
so-
dude. It's his. It's his
Oh,
like.
it's the
Yeah. Who's a good?
I do the whole like I only shave once a week kind of thing, like just before my work week, and then I look like a hobo by the end of the week.
Nice,
Kind of
nice. The working man, it just
Okay.
brings you down. I love it. Finway, can you see?
I can see. I was just trying to log in, but no, never mind.
I don't think you need to log in to view Twitch. Only to comment.
Yeah, I don't need to. I need to just to comment. Yeah, I can see it.
All right, perfect. Are we ready to kind of get going?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Sweet. So yeah, again, so we got report credits down here. So we got Freya, Finway, Lamia, Relum, and most importantly, we got ChatGPT. Thank you, ChatGPT, for helping us out with this. We had a whole bunch of testers in here too. Baka, Endo, Jahara. Looks like those are most of the people listed.
Yeah, that
here.
was more for the original questionnaire.
But this has been quite a group effort here. And then you said, yeah, Manway in 2000. Oh, and is this the link to the actual? Oh, look at that. Wow. All right, well, we'll go.
So really quickly, how long did it take for this to come together? Because I don't think we really said. It seemed like it took you a few months of working on this before it was released and ready to take for people to actually take the survey.
Oh yeah, no, it was a long time actually. Yeah. I can't remember when Fred started the original, but I think it might have been sort of April last year.
So probably at least 6 months, right? Probably something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's hop in here. So first section we have here is demographics. So, as long as we got that pulled up and everyone can see it, you want to help explain this to us a little bit, Finway?
Yeah, okay. 176 responses. 176 responses. That is the headline and the answer to your question, I think. Oh, no, your question is for people in chat. Right, I see. Well, we got an overwhelming male response, perhaps not surprisingly.
Wow. I'm shocked.
I don't know, man. 10 females actually sounds pretty good. I would have. We broke double digits.
It was just Freya
On
10
cell
times.
phones. Yeah.
Oh, we just lost our camera.
The occupations massively changed since 4 years ago. Everyone, well, not everyone, most people are employed, whereas I think back in the day most people were students.
Look at us go. This strong work MUME community. Stay employed.
Yeah, I think demographics have changed quite radically. A lot of most people probably, or
I'm definitely
a lot
seeing.
older.
Definitely you can see a shift in that most people started when they were young, like pre-20, and now most of the players are in their 30s. to 40s. So it definitely seems like that demographic just kind of shifted down. Like the same people kind of are playing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's right, and I think that's something that we need to consider if we want to continue the game going, with reasonable numbers.
Mm-hmm.
How we get in the new players.
I mean, I think definitely we're not, right?
Yeah.
Definitely we're not getting the new players, right?
This looks very much like a fertility crisis that,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so to be honest, I actually thought our fertility crisis was actually much worse than this, right? I mean, I think that, hold on. I think fundamentally, like, there was the surge of players in the 90s and then the surge of players after the movies. And I always had assumed there was more of a player base from the 90s than the post movies. But this actually, I think, kind of indicates the inverse of that. It seems that, like, given that people are most in their 30s and 40s, we have a lot of people who were teenagers, were kids when the movies came out, got really into it, and then found the game around that time frame. So I don't know. This is actually, I would have guessed our median age was like 50, but this is indicating it's like 42 or so. So I actually kind of feel like, wow.
Yeah, I think
we got some young legs. We got some juice.
Yeah.
It's like the 35 to 42 range. But the thing you have to also remember is the movies, yes, but also in the 90s. I mean, when was it that MUME, everyone was on dial-up and wasn't necessarily connected all the time to the game. And also, I think at one time, wasn't there a kind of a restricted, like, you could only play for certain hours of a day? I mean, that was before my time. But I mean, in the early 2000s, you didn't have those restrictions either. So I think you definitely saw a lot of people join in the early 2000s just because of that.
Middle Ages,
like all the young kids had like full-time internet by then,
Totally. Yeah, totally.
Freya in the chat says it's Middle Agers of Middle Earth.
Yeah, maybe we should ask this question in Hobbit years or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you're 97 years old, so you're about to go to grade school or whatever.
When Nazca brings up,
Finwe units old.
We got a couple people who are almost 60 who just started. Shout out to them. That's awesome. All right, well let's hop on.
We gotta interview them. We gotta find them for the pod.
Yeah. How did you find that on like the classifieds or something? All right, let's open next section here. We got networking. So this is basically how you found the game, right? And other outside the game type interactions.
I mean, there's no surprises here, right? This all seems like no surprises, right?
Mostly
significantly American, but not majority. Tons of European, all spread throughout.
So what is this, like, email, Facebook, YouTube? What is this? What is this stuff down here?
That's how do you prefer your preferred news source? Yeah.
For MUME specifically, or just, I guess it's MUME specifically.
For MUME, yeah, not for world news.
So, not a lot of people from. Ooh, sorry, I'm getting a whole bunch of notifications. I should have turned that off.
So people could select more than one, which is why it doesn't add up to, the number of respondents.
So nobody's saying Twitch. Maybe we need to go to something else.
Yeah, why didn't you put the Moon Talk podcast as an option here?
It only takes us 4 months to go through the backlog of news posts.
Your thrice yearly news update. There we go.
You got 16 on your YouTube, yeah. So
Sweet. Yeah, 16
plus 3.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Reddit, I'm actually surprised that Reddit is a ghost land. I am shocked anyone said Reddit. But oh well. All right, let's hop on to this. Is, like you said, this is pretty
no surprises.
I will say the only thing that really stands out here is that it looks like advertising is totally useless compared to having a friend tell you about it. This is like
that's very no, for Nick's benefit and everybody. So there's a chart, Nick, where it's like, how did you hear about MUME? And friend, or like that, basically, like friend or social referral basically just massively dominates all others, like astonishingly.
10x,
which
order of magnitude.
But there's interesting ways to interpret that. Is it the fact that like various forums and websites and searches failed, or is it the fact that only people who have friends in the game have a chance at actually learning to play and successfully like onboarding and succeed and like retaining in the game so that they could actually be around and actually answer the questionnaire?
Partially that, and I also think just the fact that you have a lot of people that found out about it through, playing with other people in university and in school. I mean, now I seem to recall, I'm a 99% sure on that question I answered forum because there wasn't an option. I actually I found out about MUME through an email list, but I don't think there was email list was an option there. So I'm pretty sure I just selected forum, which would be like the logical, most close option to email list. But yeah, I mean, it's I think most people probably do find out through word of mouth.
But maybe, I mean, what do you like? What if I make a bold speculative claim, which only vaguely is informed by this chart, that like fundamentally, in order to be successful as a long-term MUME player, you have to have friends help you on board. Like, does that like do folks agree with that? I mean, I certainly feel that. What do you think?
I don't know. I got into MUME without a friend. I just I was playing another mod and I got a bit bored of it, I guess, I think, and then I thought, oh, I wonder if there's a talking mod out there, and I looked on the mod connector and found MUME, and I thought, yeah, brilliant. Getting into this, and probably a few months on, 2 or 3 months on from that, I was still playing a lot, and leveling up my first character or second, and then I realized that actually my kind of best friend in MUME, I was asking him where he was playing from, and he said Edinburgh, and I'm in Edinburgh, and it's like, carry on. I'm in, where, like, you a student? Yeah, whatever. I can't remember how the conversation went, but actually he was playing from the same lab as me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I just want to pause for a second. Dude, this is so impressive, the way this is all laid out. Like, you can interact with the pie charts, and it, like, moves the map, and it changes all the, like, wow, you guys did an amazing job with this.
Oh, well, I have to shout out to Lucas Studio for that.
So good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bro, if I did this, it would be like a Microsoft Word, like, piece of garbage. I love it. Okay. You want one? Let's move on to characters here. Okay. Start getting into some meat and potatoes. So we got, it looks like just an overwhelmingly large number of the player base plays Free Peoples, it looks like. The number of people that have 15 plus characters, and even 15 plus legends, is extremely high compared with the other ones, or less than that. Whereas it does not seem that there is that many. Well, I guess for Minions of Sauron, there's still quite a few people who have at least a bunch of characters. Not as many that have legends. A lot of people have 0, though, for both of these.
I don't remember if that was asked on the original survey, but I'd be willing to bet that, 25 years ago, quite a lot of the respondents probably didn't have that many legends. It seems like we have quite a lot of people with legends now just because they've played for so long.
Any significance here, Finwe, would you say? Any major takeaways?
No, I think what you've said. I mean, a lot of people have got a lot of characters now, been playing a long time. So yeah, they're up to potentially 15 plus on these charts. Unless, perhaps not for the Zaugers, or how would you say that?
Yeah.
We'll get onto that, I think, on the next page, actually.
I would argue though that this is a the main takeaway from this is that the majority of the player base is playing puke or white or free people characters, which then like the majority of the gameplay time is spent on free peoples here by it seems like quite a large margin. Let's hop into the next one. I think it's got Zoggers here. How many Zoggers do you own on MUME that are undeleted? Most people have 0. And not that many people have, it looks like 5 or more. And I guess this doesn't delve into whether legends or not. And then most people don't have bears either. So basically, what was the point of this? What was this trying to illustrate?
I think it illustrates bears suck even more than Zogs.
Yeah, I think. Wow, that,
actually, you know what? Yeah.
Perhaps these aren't very popular.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, there are fewer players who have bears than have Zogs. That's crazy.
Which is so funny because I recently listened to The Hobbit on audiobook with Andy Serkis, and it's funny, like Bjorn is just such like what a powerful, towering character. I mean, I kind of feel like in terms of like I don't know, not screen time, but like page time, Bjorn almost has as big a presence as Elrond. You know, he's just so powerful in the book, and then sadly in MUME, Bjorn people would rather play orcs that can't ride than bears. A little sad.
Well, I think it's just because bears, it's like, well, what specifically do bears have to offer that you can't get? I mean, to me, bears are basically just not so buff trolls. And it's like, at that point, play trolls or play Zorks. I mean, I think the whole appeal of Zorks is it's like you against the entire game. And it's like you and maybe your 1 or 2 allies. If you can get that many people to log Zork, it's like you against the world. It's like bears, it's like, well, I can log bear and scare a couple of lobby orcs, and yeah.
Honestly, it might be the case that one of the reasons that bears seemingly are so unpopular is that they're not forced to be unique. So the bear part of them is very much an afterthought. Like, you know, if you're Zog, you're playing in a very like the way that you play Zog is extremely different than pretty much playing anything else. If you're playing a troll, you have to play completely different than playing an orc. If you're playing a bear, you can play bear, but you also could just play like every other.
You just end up with the shitty man warrior.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not.
It's fun from like you can suicide PK with your bear. It's like, oh, I don't need any equipment, but it's like realistically, you have 3 bears or 3 trolls or 3 Zorks. It's like 2 of those, you have a lot of power. You have a lot of hitting power. The bears, not so much. Mm-hmm. Like it's really, I mean, and there's a reason for that because it's puke, and pukes are kind of compared to the dark side are kind of overpowered. So.
All right, so big takeaway: bears suck. Newsflash.
Yeah, and I think also that there's scope for, you know, more people playing Zorks as well. You know, there's not that many people playing Zorks.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here we've got classes. So this is pretty interesting. Let's see here. So it looks like mage is by far the most popular class.
No, this is not popularity. It's just like quality or power, right? It's not strictly popularity. I mean, yeah, I guess you'd assume what people think is the best is also the most popular, but
yeah, I guess you're right. There's a distinction there. People's perception of mage is that they are the strongest by a fairly large margin.
Yeah. This was before the change to the shield spell, but yeah.
Yeah. So we've got clerics, specifically Western free people. Mages and clerics are essentially a whole point above the next class here, which is free people thieves.
Yeah. And if you look at the bottom chart, which is just how the votes are broken down, you can see that there's a gradient where most people voted 7, the highest for mages.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We got trolls here that are pretty strong, it looks like. BNs are just in a horrible state for anything that's not.
Cleric BN, baby.
So I'm actually really interested on your guys' take on this in terms of like from a game design. It can be very valuable to allow players to have the freedom to experiment and try new things. But if you're a game designer, is it a good thing that allowing players to play different builds, like say Cleric BN or Thief BN, is it a good thing if those builds are awful, or should every viable build be decent? Like, just if you wanted to maximize enjoyment for your players, like how, like, do you see what my question is?
Yeah. I mean, the ceiling. You're basically saying, should the ceiling for all classes be equally high, or should there just be like fundamental structural limits on certain classes? And I think
yes, except for I would switch ceiling with floor if we put it that
way. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that there's a lot of like profound architectural decisions about MUME that are kind of stuck in the 90s era, back when there was 120 people online at all times, and like I just don't like this whole idea that, like, sure, maybe BN should be a bit more fragile, maybe they should be a bit harder to play or whatever, but the idea that like the ultimate juice, the ultimate capability you can get out of a class has like this massive, like, just like constantly frustrating limit just seems antiquated and just like contrary to fun anymore, in my opinion.
I mean, I found that BN's just anecdotally, to me, BN is a lot harder than Zork. So I mean, I don't know. I should BNs really be harder than the class? I mean, and that's just my experience. Maybe other people have different experience, and like Nick, you're insane. But I think if you got a couple Zorks together, you can get some equipment, you can get some levels. With BN, it's like, oh my god, what a try! Like, maybe I could get a dagger here. I could go kill bunny rabbits for all day or whatever. So it's I don't know. I would agree with you that BN is, for me, is the least enjoyable thing to play around with, as far as the different races in the game go. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know if all builds necessarily need to be viable, though. That's kind of the thing about experimentation, is like, if everything was good, then where you wouldn't have that enjoyment of finding
totally,
the right amount of stats and skill combination.
Totally. Yeah. I certainly, I don't mean like it should be just like easy guaranteed power mode or anything, but just shitty stuff like BN's having so few pracs and like critical stuff, and just like only 5 pracs in Cure Serious. So like any like you just backfire Cure constantly, and so you're constantly having to sleep, you're constantly depressed or doing boring sleep regen. Like those just feel like arbitrary frustrations that there's really no solve for, and it's just like what's the point? We've got 150 to 200 players, median age in the 40s. We love the game, trying to keep it alive. Clearly, everybody, as the previous slide showed, everybody has 15 or more characters. We all love trying out new characters, new combos, new stats, new builds. Why impose small, shitty, constantly frustrating limitations on classes? It just feels arbitrary and futile to me.
Dark Oath was a great move in the right direction. I mean, hopefully they can add some more things to BN to make it a little more fun and less frustrating.
Well, so in most games, you'll have, let's say, like low skill cap characters, and you'll have high skill cap characters. And the low skill cap characters, they're meant for newbies, and they're pretty easy and straightforward to figure out what's going on. Dwarf Warrior. And then you've got high skill cap characters where there's a lot of factors involved, and it's very difficult to master the character. But once you've mastered the character, you are just as powerful, if not perhaps a little bit more powerful, simply because that ceiling is so high. But we don't have that necessarily in a couple of these classes. Like, for instance, a Cleric BN. If you are the most skilled player on MUME, Cleric BN is still going to suck. It's not a question of there are more moving parts, so it's more complicated and it's more difficult, which is a good thing. Like, making things hard is good, but you're not rewarded for mastery in some of these things, if that makes sense. Which I don't know if that's a good idea. Anyway, getting kind of back on track. We still got plenty of to go through here. We've got again.
Let's keep rolling, baby. Keep rolling.
Here we've got. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead with Finwe.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to point out that the number of votes. I think it's more. Actually, let's go on the next one. I think it's so we see it better. Yeah.
Sub races.
Yeah, sub races. Yeah. And I apologize. I put that question in about that one, and I didn't think should we split out Zorks separately. I don't know whether that would have been useful. But we've got them here under sub race anyway, so just. I mean, I suppose.
Click on them or.
No. Just in terms of whether I should have split out Zork warriors rather than Orc warriors.
I see what you're saying.
But because Orc warriors got about 5.17, I think it was there. So pretty decent score.
So the good news is that nothing here is below 3. So in general, nothing is like just completely unplayable, I guess. But you also have several classes which are considered to be almost double. So almost 100% better to play than other classes, which is, again, maybe not the greatest.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked. Why is half elf so low?
Don't know. You can sort as well. I think if you click on average, you can get it in. It's in alphabetical order at the moment.
I see.
The half elf sub race changes were not out when the questionnaire.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Right. So people are just being like, "Fuck you, where's the half?"
Yeah.
And the same thing for Zog. Yeah. Once again, the order is the worst. It feels like they just pumped Bjorning so with that forge command or whatever.
Even with the sub race change, yeah.
Yeah. But why does everybody love Sylvan because of it's the missile bonus and the parry while you're half a bow. What is it on Sylvan? It's
missile, I believe. I don't remember if there's parry or not, but the missile is great.
If you're wielding a bow, I think you get extra parry bonus compared with other races.
Yeah, here we go. I got it. Sylvan elves have a natural affinity for missile weapons and surviving in the wilderness, so you get plus missile plus wilderness. Track significantly faster in the forest. Parry enemy blows slightly better when wielding a bow. Is that like plus 5 PB, plus 10 PB? I'm not sure. And then move through the forests more easily as if it were a trail. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. What do people say about Rohirrim? What's Rohirrim? Oh, Rohirrim's only 4.73.
Was one of the best ones. That was like the very first one.
Yeah, people are rating Rohirrim 4.7, but Sylvan Elves 5.48. I don't know.
But we can also.
I think they got the buff with stabbing weapons, right?
Yeah.
Rohirrim. Yeah.
So right now we're sorted through votes. So this is an indicator of how strongly people feel about things. So obviously people feel very strongly about bears being awful.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the rest, it's a little bit less.
Yeah, we see the half elves are at the bottom of the terms of votes. I think that maybe is because perhaps less people play them, so they don't know, or they don't have an opinion, or perhaps because they were waiting for their sub race bonus to come out.
Oh yeah, if you look at this, this is this graph on the bottom. Man, this is so well done. You guys did such a great job here. You can see that, with Eridorian men, like most people rated them a 4. They're like, yep, they're right down the middle. They're okay. I wonder.
What is it? Eridorians, they get like plus 5 pracs and they get like better rent or something. Oh no.
I wonder if there's any U-shaped curves here. That'd be really interesting. So here on Sylvan Elves, people were very vehemently saying that they were really good or average. There's not a lot of in the middle here, but I don't see any U-shape. This is kind of
I would have
interesting.
definitely marked that as very good. Like, I wish that I had that when I was playing Dent, because Dent used bows and shot, and also his moves sucked. And to have extra wilderness and whatnot would have been wonderful.
I think so. Black Numenorians actually do have a little bit of a U going on here. So most people rated them as okay, but then you have rather high peaks on either end of the distribution where they either think they're terrible or they think they're awesome. Wow. Again, you guys did such a good job. Fantastic. Zogger's kind of have a similar.
Let's keep going, man. Let's keep rolling.
All right, Aner. Is that how you say it? I don't even know.
Ainor, but whatever you want.
Okay. All right. Do you own an Einer? And about half the player base does. And is it Maya right or higher? And not surprisingly, most is no. Do you log your Ainu regularly? Pretty much everyone. It's an even split of yes and no, and who knows. All right, let's go into building here. Wow. That's actually, of the people, how many people, it was 170 you said responded to this? 50 of them, 50% have a immortal? That's crazy. Have you ever built, helped, or currently building a zone? About half the people have. And would you ever consider building another zone? 40% say yes, 20% say hell no, and 30% say maybe.
So 50. What is it? What is the exact number? Let me hover over here. It's 46 people say they either currently doing so or have built in the past. So 46, and then 20 say they would do it again. So only 20 out of 46 would be repeat builders. So kind of a tough attrition curve there. Tough. little bit of a drop off there, but
Also, I wonder if part of that is, I don't know if we have the tools to figure that out, but I wonder how much of that might be just people having responded to this and saying, yeah, I built in the past, but maybe I don't play so much these days, right? And so I don't, I wonder if we maybe can cross-reference that with people's self-reported how many hours they play. I don't know if that's possible.
That's a good idea. Yeah, we could add a filter in here. We haven't come across any filters yet on the results, but we will get to them in the next pages. Because some of these questions are things I was thinking about. How can we get a bit more insights into how people are voting, why they're voting, and why they're responding, how they're responding? I think that's a good one we could add to this page. Yeah.
We've
got ChatGPT at the bottom, which has summarized some of the responses that people gave.
Yeah. So the responses suggest that while there are many enjoyable aspects of building a MUME, there are also significant areas for improvement, particularly in making the process more efficient, user-friendly, and creatively freeing. Reducing wait times for feedback, improving documentation and tools, and addressing the repetitive nature of certain tasks could enhance the overall building experience. So that was a GPT summary. Wow, that's very cool. What did you enjoy most about building? In conclusion, the building experience in MUME is cherished for its creative freedom, storytelling opportunities, conceptual design, community contribution, learning experiences, and the ability to work on specific projects. This diversity of enjoyable aspects points to a rich and multifaceted building experience within the game. Nice. Always good to get a little jippity in there. All right, so levels. Oh boy. What is going on here? What is going on? What? There's an average highest mortal level reached by players is 56.4. Damn, that is so high compared to what it used to be.
I think I only have one character at or above that level. I'm below that.
Honestly, this is probably heavily influenced by Elastair. This is probably him like changing the balance by changing the skew by at least like 10 levels.
It's just I think it's just one. It's just one max level per respondee, right? Yeah, per person.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So people only put in their highest level for this one. So yeah, if you've got 160, then you're 60 on the chart. Level 60.
That's crazy. Almost 18% are level 76 and above. Wow.
That's crazy, dude. I mean, fundamentally, we've got 200 people who love the game, have a shit ton of characters, and just level the shit out of them. Basically, I mean, everybody just levels power levels.
So what this is really telling me here is that the if you look at assuming that most newbies make it to 25 or something like that would be their highest level, maybe 26. The vast majority of people who answered this are very much veteran players. Not a lot of newbies probably were contributing here. Wow, that's crazy. All right, let's move on. Playing styles. Ooh. So let's go with the Chat GPT conclusion first. Overall, these findings highlight the importance of player killing in MUME, with a considerable portion of players engaging in it to varying degrees. It underscores the need for balanced and engaging PK gameplay to cater to the diverse preferences of the player base. Okay, so we got 33% are sometimes involved in PK. We've got 16% saying they're always involved. 25% saying that they are often involved. And 18% they are rarely, with only 5% saying that they are never involved in player killing. So, yeah, it seems like it's a fairly, well, it's a huge majority of the player base is involved in it.
I think it's hard to interpret this. I mean, I think it's a little. Maybe we should. Maybe in 25 years when we do this again, we'll ask a question about like when you log on, do you want to PK? Do you go looking for PK? Right? Because like almost everybody, especially if you have a level 70 character, which it seems everybody does per the previous slide, like you always stumble upon PK sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're always you're always overkilling somebody. Yeah. So it feels like probably a good question we need to ask is like, how often do you log on with intent, with like sole intent to PK, where you do not want to, you do not want to XP, you're not interested in XP, you're not interested in anything else but PK. I would be interested to get that data.
Mm-hmm. As this could just be representing like, this could just be representing that when you log on, you are involved factually in PK at some point, which is true for pretty much everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a PKer, but you're jumped, I mean, you are therefore involved in PK. So I mean, I'm not sure. It's fascinating though. It seems though it's kind of distributed. Like I would almost expect very polarizing. Like you either always or never. But it seems like there's a bit of distribution there with the always, sometimes, rarely, never.
That's why I think we have to ask a question around intent and preference more than just like incidental contact.
Mm-hmm.
So click the sometimes on the chart on the right and just see if that gives us anything.
Oh, this.
That one. If you click sometimes.
Yeah.
Do we get? Yeah, we see that those people who often play from another, who play from the same room as their friends, they are much more often involved in PK, aren't they? 45%.
Oh.
Or plus always 10%. And I noticed that before, when you clicked on people who were never involved in PK, they never play from the same room as their friends.
Interesting. So PK has a heavy like kind of lab component to it.
There's still a lab component to it, isn't there?
That makes sense.
Well, I know back the most recent battle coach, I think Jahara shared the data point that like over the course of a week, 29 different accounts participated in battle coach. And it's interesting. I mean, coincidentally, it's the same number. If you look at this chart, are your characters involved in player killing? Always is also 29. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's the same people, but like 29 people here say they always do play killing, and 29 people participated in battle coach, which is about as like high intent as like pure PK as you can get. So it does seem like the true quote unquote hardcore PKer demographic is like low tens, like 20, 30, 40, 50 people. Which is, I mean, it's sad. It's like it's such a beautiful, complicated, hardcore game and hardcore contest, but like it's just so obscure. It just takes so much effort to like even get to the point where you can participate at all. It's just such a, you know, it's a shame. Such a beautiful skill art form is just so obscure and has such a very high, such a heavy, qualification cost.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely easier for. There are other things for both young people and even sort of people our age to get their dopamine hit. There's a lot easier ways to do it. You really have to be kind of dedicated.
So we got some charts here going over how much people role play, and it definitely seems like, well, it's about 50-50 between you're likely to do it versus you are unlikely to do it. And only about, well, actually 2/3 of people who play, or at least answer this, have posted a log from game. Okay. The average number of hours spent on MUME Weekly based on the survey responses and averaged over the past 4 weeks is approximately 7.7 hours. This indicates that on average, players in the survey have spent a little over 7 hours per week playing MUME, so about an hour a day. Or 1 7-hour day on Saturday.
That's not bad, actually. That's actually pretty good, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have enough people, on for an hour a day or 2 hours every other day or whatever, or as you said, 8 hours a day or 4 hours a day, Saturday, Sunday. That's actually not that's pretty good, I would say.
Let's hop into opinions.
Go ahead. I want to look at this. I want to look at this data because my guess is this might be a case where average is misleading. Like my guess is that there's one population that's probably like in the 30, 40, 50 hours a week zone, and there's a lot of people who like just dabble in it, and they can't find a group or whatever. And so average like might be kind of misleading here. I'd like to look more.
Yeah, that's a ChatGPT one. I'm not sure whether it's mean or median. It's probably mean, isn't it? But median might have been more useful.
All right, hopping into opinions. All right, after analyzing the unique responses to would you like to praise someone specific in MUME, in the MUME survey, several names and attributes were frequently mentioned indicating key contributors to MUME community. Notably, individuals like Jahara, Rogan, and Dane were repeatedly praised for their contributions and efforts in various aspects of the game. The responses reflect a sense of appreciation for those who actively work to improve the game, whether through development, mentoring, or community engagement. This suggests a community that values the dedication and hard work of its members, particularly those in leadership or development roles. Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Pretty sure I mentioned all three of those, yeah. Like, that was a good thing to have, like a place in there where people could praise the developers.
All right, let's look at. So then we got. It looks like for the most part, there's a majority positive outlook on the game. Most people think that it's about almost 75% think it's good / excellent, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, let's hop into MUME and MUDs. In what position do you rank MUME? Number 1 best MUD, 2nd best MUD, etc. No surprises. Most people think MUME is the best MUD. I would expect that that's mostly because MUME is the only MUD people have played for the most part. About 50-50 people have played MUDs before MUME. Do you play other MUDs than MUME? Most people don't. Yeah, most people only play MUME by a drastic.
I think this is mostly known. I think no surprises here, right?
Yeah. All right, OS. Most people are playing on Windows by a massive majority. Then you've got Mac OS, some Linux. Yeah, so pretty much Windows and Mac OS and a little bit of Linux. Most people are using JMC or Mudlet. Then Mapper, Powdy, Powwow, and then from Tintin down, it's much, much less. Actually, not that many people are playing from the MUME.org web client.
I'm amazed how many people are still using like Zmud, which was like king of the 90s.
Hey, this one person one person is using Mudrammer on mobile. That's their primary. That's awesome.
Was that you, Peter?
No, that wasn't me. I don't use Mudrammer.
Because that's right. You don't.
And as Kiltor points out, so the way the survey was set up is that different Linux distributions were different. So if you add up all the Linux, it's actually more than Mac, which is kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, good point.
That so many people are on Linux over Mac. But I mean, the biggest surprise here to me is that the Mapper built-in client is 27. I mean, that's like basically half of Mudlet. I think that's pretty impressive. So shout out Jahara, who built that entirely by himself. So maybe we should invest a bit more. I know we talk about it all the time, but like just rebranding Mapper as the MUME client and distributing it that way, we got to run that experiment. Maybe over the next 30 years, we can run that experiment sometime.
So when this was, because I think I took this in December. I'm trying to remember when on that page for those responses, was it? Could you give multiple responses, or was it just one client that you could pick? So I can't remember. Like, is it the case that people are using the Mapper client exclusively, or is it like they're using it plus another client as well?
I don't know, man. I'm not sure.
So it looks like no surprises, the vast majority of the player base uses Mapper. Only about 5% doesn't at all, which is crazy. So 95% of players on MUME use Mapper to some extent. And it looks like most of them are not particularly interested in switching clients. Most are kind of set in their ways, it looks like. This is interesting, though. It looks like about a third of players have created their own map. The majority don't, though. So most people are not going out there and making their own maps and tweaking stuff.
No, but the fact that 64 people have tried to map on their own with Mapper is incredible. Mm-hmm. And of course Nick and his map and everybody, but it's amazing.
What are we looking at here? Oh, Finwe can't hear anything right now. Okay, no,
I'm back. I can hear.
There you are.
So we're looking at mapping right now. So if you created a map for yourself, how did you find the experience? Most people found it pretty challenging, it looks like.
It's so much fun. Like, honestly, it's quite fun to map an area. Like, of course, if there's if it's already been done by someone else, I'm not going to duplicate that work. I'm just going to pull their additions out and add it to my own format. But I mean, if that's not readily available, it is fun to sit there and kind of map an area and document everything, drop notes and rims and stuff.
Why do you use a map that was provided to you rather than creating your own? It takes too much time to create your own, basically, is the consensus here. It's a little bit dangerous, is 24 out of quite a few, it looks like. So mostly it just takes too much time. But most people did not start with Mapper again. No shocks there. So we got some just feedback here. It was easy to mess up. Black documentation. People really like the fog of war feel to creating a map, but it's kind of a pain to do it. Fiddly, fun when the area's not overcomplicated. So it seems like the takeaway here is that this could be something that could be like part of the game, like mapping your own like kind of discovering the fog of war, especially for newbies, actually might be like a cool element to the game to like make kind of an official part of it. It's just not particularly smooth experience right now, but that's an interesting kind of takeaway, I think. All right, so we got some map.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think it could be potentially smoother now with the new changes that are in with GMCP, but not all of that's into MMAP at the moment.
Mike, you do quite a bit of mapping. Are there any things that you specifically have opinions on, and like how it would be more enjoyable and more like efficient, less of a kind of fiddly?
Yeah, I mean
experience?
the fundamental challenge is that all the maps, the mapper architecture and all the maps we have now were were conceived and implemented back in a world where we did not have canonical identifiers. We did not have like server IDs, ID numbers for each room. And so now we do in fact have that. Thank you, Dane. And thank you, Jahara. But now we're kind of in a weird limbo state where everybody has their legacy map. I mean, most people use Fane's map, but still a bunch of other people have their own maps. And then now the server is giving us canonical IDs, but trying to retroactively fit those IDs back to the legacy maps that don't have those is like not a trivial challenge. So we need to figure that out. But if we'd always had server IDs for rooms, then you'd basically never have weird dupes. You'd basically never end up like with weird inconsistencies or just the consistency of the room connections would just be much higher, and a lot of the like trial and error. Yeah. So I think it's kind of a question like, does somebody want to step up and spend the time to figure out a way that we can carry the old maps forward to the new server room ID type architecture? And that's not a trivial undertaking. But if we did that, then I think, and then especially if Dane ever wants to go the next step where he actually keeps track of like on the server who has been to what room and like actually gives us that information to where we could implement a server synchronized fog of war, then you can do a ton of stuff. But now that we're kind of in this limbo, it's a little different.
That kind of almost is in there. There's this field that was added to GMCP last year, I think, called rooms.known, and I talked to Dane about changing that slightly because I think it should be rooms.visited rather than rooms.known. But because rooms.known is the rooms you visited plus the ones next to the rooms you visited, which I think is giving away probably a bit too much information potentially. But anyway, rooms.known is there at the moment. And if it's rooms.visited, it's the same sort of thing. The client, the mmapper can request that information and then populate, just gray out everything on the map that's not in that array, and then you get a fog of war type map where you can just see all the rooms you've visited, and the rest.
No, but then it'd be. I mean, we shouldn't rebel too much, but we would need to, like, every time a different character logs in, you need to call the server and say, give me the entire set of rooms visited, like thousands of rooms, and then overlay that. And then like when that character logs off, another character logs on, you'd have to switch it. So it's not trivial.
Have to store all that information too, and I mean, I think that the reason why they give you the surrounding rooms is also because you get those now in the exits information, both in XML and in GMCP. The ID thing is it's really cool, and I'm so glad they added. I've been sort of working on retro adding to my map, for my sort of own client, but it's a process. The eventual thing, though, is you could actually have a very small map if you just have IDs and the links to the rooms, and you didn't store descriptions and names. You could make something that's really tiny and would be very simple to say transmit over, if you have like a WebSocket based client or something that's web based, it would make it a lot easier. You wouldn't have to mess around with hashes and stuff for rooms like they're currently doing. But mmapper doesn't yet have, or at least I don't think it has support for storing. I could be wrong on this, but I don't think they've yet.
It does not.
added-
It does not. No, it does
Yeah.
not. It's not there. Yeah.
So hopefully soon that's added. So at least people, even though it's not sort of using them for anything, hopefully it'll be added soon so that people can start adding those to their existing maps, so it can be used in the future.
Yeah.
Hey, Slate, should we jump ahead a bit, man? Just time wise, I'm getting a little tight on time.
Yeah, we can move ahead.
Should we go to maybe mobility in the game or gaming frequency?
Let me just skim through these real quick. Most people are using Discord. Pretty even distribution of Explorer, Killer, Achiever, Socializer. Game frequency. How often do you log into MUME? Most people are logging in at least weekly, a few times a year, daily. Any quick takeaways from this, Finwe? That were like big standouts?
No, I don't think. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all summarized there in the text, so people can just read that and
Yeah.
order it. Yeah.
Speaking of which, can I know you guys were planning on doing a like release of this. I don't know if you already released it on the Discord. Can I link this in the chat, or are you trying to keep this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
sure.
no, no.
All right.
Yeah, you can link it in the chat.
Close this in here.
Hopefully, one of the V Plus will do a news for it as well. And I was thinking, let's create a thread in one of the forums in Discord as well, so we can discuss it.
There we go.
Because, yeah, I'm sure people will want to discuss results.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep pressing on. We are kind of spending a long time here. So mobility, hot topic in MUME for sure. Is mobility on MUME about right? Most people think it's actually about right. Too great for free people casters. 25% think it's too great. Too great for everyone. Main takeaway is very few people say it is too little for anyone, and 37% say it's about right. So most people think that there's too much mobility in MUME, which I guess is, again, not super surprising, but now we've got some definitive, we should, at the very least, probably we should avoid adding any mobility into the game and maybe consider bigger ways to pull back, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. Jump into wish lists here real quick. Is there anything on here showing like the number of votes, or is this the?
So this was ChatGPT summarizing, and Brea has highlighted in green, I think it was, the ones where they were the top 10-ish. I don't know when. Well, maybe perhaps all the ones where it says I would play more.
Gotcha. Most of these seem to be related to PK in one way or another. So more rewards for PK. Looting corpse is more difficult. Oh, this one's there was no PKing.
I think Slay, if you jump to the deep dive slide, it has like the same information in a more.
It's got a.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I wasn't. I just.
Oh wow.
For me,
Holy
I just
crap.
wanted more of the raw stats to be shown. I think it. So I redid it in a graphical way, more graphical way, where we can just see, depending on, and filter which are the most popular, and unpopular as well.
So this.
So the top four are, I would play more if there were more people playing, if broken or useless skills or spells were fixed or rebalanced, if it were easier to play short sessions, and if there were more special, regular, like fun events.
Okay, nice. Well, so all four of those are more people playing is a little bit more difficult. That though is a fantastic indicator that, for instance, the Who list changes that they've been making, allowing you to see more people, is probably going to be, or probably definitely a positive. We have confirmed proof here. People like it to know that other people are playing. Balance, they've been working on that recently. That's fantastic. Short sessions, we've talked about it a couple times, but that's pretty.
But it's interesting if you look at the ones which are least popular, where people say they would play less, right? Like if Charm were nerfed, 19% of people say they would play less. It's a little hard. I don't know if we can sort. I'm just like, if you just mouse over, Peter, the ones where the orange bar is highest.
Oh, yeah.
So if there was more PK, 13% of people say they would play less. And then, if all equipment were wiped monthly, 63. I'm going all the way to the right side of the chart now.
I think I can.
If I'm coming back, if all equipment were wiped monthly, 63% people say they would play less. If there was no PK, 60% people would play less. If we could set a flag to opt out of PK, people said they would. So 50% people said they would play less. Something, I don't know what that one is. If mobility was better, people said they would play less, which doesn't make any sense, I think. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think that represents the fact that it would then be even harder to kill people.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I think some of this is kind of more or less voting based on like opinion, not literally like people would play less, more like because
it's not a commitment.
I mentioned it's like I will play less if people are more mobile or whatever. I think a lot of people are probably just it's like what they like and what they don't like kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's hop into final thoughts here. The analysis of the final thoughts shared by the respondents of the MUME survey reveals a multifaceted perspective on the game. Players express a deep-seated appreciation and nostalgia for MUME, highlighting its enduring appeal and community's gratitude for its sustained operation. Key themes include a strong desire for new features and improvements to enhance player engagement with particular emphasis on player interaction, game balance, and character development. There is a notable focus on player killing, dynamics, and the viability of different classes and the balance between solo and group play. Additionally, players express love for the game coupled with constructive suggestions, indicating a passionate and dedicated player base. This feedback collectively underscores the players' investment in the game's future and their keen interest in its continuous evolution to enrich the overall gaming experience. Wow, that is so diplomatically put. That is very much a ChatGPT answer. So, Finwe and Freya, I know you're in the chat. If you guys could sum up your biggest takeaways from having been in this data and compiling this data for a while now, what were some of the things that really stood out to you about this survey, and what would you like to see get out of it? Happen because of it.
Well, from my perspective, obviously, I mean, I think the demographics are pretty easy to see, the shifting demographics there. And we need to hopefully try and drive a bit more new players and retention of players. And that's why I added all these kind of wish list questions about, would this help? Would you like this? Would you play more if this was in the game? So I'd like to see some, management people discussing, or other people, just have people discussing those results and seeing some of those come into focus more, and seeing what we can do about those. One of the ones that was in the top 5 was more events. That was particularly popular, and that's one that would be relatively easy for us to do something about. Obviously, more people playing isn't something we can directly influence, aside of promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Freya, I don't know if you are still listening in the chat, but feel free to type anything. If you do, I'll read it out. Phrase says, I would still love to see what new players would like to see, as the responses were mostly by experienced / older players. We do not know very well how to promote the game. Yep, that's very true. Most of it, like you said, like I was saying, the responses seem to be very experienced player skewed.
Yeah. But we should be able to filter, I think, some of the responses on the pages by max. So, for example, on that wishlist deep dive one, you can filter by max level at the bottom right. I think it is. So one could put that down to, I don't know, 16 and see if you get any responses that are meaningful in terms of stats.
Ah, gotcha. Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, you can change that there. Well, highly recommend that everyone. I know you guys will be promoting this link and pushing it in the Discord and probably on Elven Runes. I'll make sure to include this link in with the YouTube video and Discord and Twitch that comes out. Highly encourage everyone to come look at these results if you're interested in it, and draw your conclusions, and then maybe hopefully that can we can get some more player feedback directly to management on like what changes we'd like to see. I know they're looking at this as well. Have you released this to the like Rogan and everyone yet, or are they finding out at the same time?
They had some preview access to the link. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you again for putting this together. This is a ton of work. This is amazingly well done. Most of it, I would say, is stuff that most of the player base had a feeling for in terms of like the demographics and our thoughts on classes and mobility, etc.
Yeah. What were the biggest surprises?
For me, I think one of the things, if we look at the player types, I was actually quite surprised that explorers, if I was reading that right, was like 66 for explorers, which was more
37%.
than. Yeah, if I was right, it looked like there were more explorers than
killers,
than killers and achievers, which I kind of assumed that killers and achievers were kind of relatively the same, and explorers would be less than that. Is what? But apparently the explorers are like more.
Yeah.
One thing I find. Go ahead.
To me, the biggest surprise is just how many characters and how high levels everybody has. Like, people, like, basically everybody is into the end game content here, like the level 70 and above. And I think at least according to this survey, the high attrition about building, like the fact that such a high percentage of people who've built once say they probably wouldn't do it again, I think that probably that's significant.
It's really interesting that pretty much everybody, well, not everybody, but the vast majority of people who started playing were referred by a friend, yet such a small portion of them seem to be socializers, and such a small portion of the people who play in the same room as anyone else, like kind of lapping, as I said. So I just find it interesting. I don't know if it's significant at all, but I find it interesting that the main pull into the game is like through friends and socializing, yet most people don't play that way. It's kind of a strange.
But again, dude, I don't want to forgive me, rabbit hole. I don't think that's the main pull into the game, because we have like every month 100 people come from random places on the internet and try it out, and they all bail. I think the main, like, it's not that the main pull is friends; it's that only people who have friends in the game have a chance at being successful.
That might be the case.
Yeah,
I think we get more top of funnel traffic from other sources every month. We know this, but none of those people succeed. It's only if you have your friend in the game who's going to teach you, do you have a chance at making it, making it.
Yeah. Well, unless you got some parting thoughts, Finwe, do you have any parting thoughts?
I just encourage people to play around with the data a bit. On some of the pages, I added, on a lot of the pages, you can click on things to see how other charts change. On some of the pages, I added filters so that you can filter the results, just in other ways as well. Yeah. I was just I said on the chat before that I don't have a monopoly. We don't have a monopoly on findings or insights from this data. So it's up to everyone to try and find their insights and to share them and their opinions.
One last thought here that I thought was kind of interesting is that we've got you said 170 people answered this survey, and 50% of them have an immortal character. But yet most projects have like 3, 4, and we're talking like big projects. Like we'll have 3 or 4 maybe immortals working on it, which is that's crazy to think about. That half of the people that answered this, so we've got 80 something people could be working on a project, but only like 3 or 4 are.
I'd love to see
crazy.
that data for the Two Towers mud. What was it? Twin Towers mud? What was the other mud we talked to?
Yeah, 2 towers.
I bet their implementation participation is quite different than ours.
Well, I think the thing with the immortals is simply that a lot of people have immortals, but they don't create them with the intent in building. It's more either to socialize or to sort of a place to idle or to go out and read boards or whatever. It's there's a lot of different reasons why people have immortals. Not
So
just
you can
playing
log in after you get killed and yell at the other people.
Yeah, that's the main reason.
I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah, that too.
Anyway,
I think maybe there's less socializers now on MUME than there were. I mean, if we had the same charts from the 2000 questionnaire, I just wonder whether there'd be more socializers there. And I don't know why it's changed exactly, but that might be something to think about.
I think you're right.
It would be cool. We don't have time for today. It would be cool to do a look into how the results from today compared to the last MUME survey. You have the link at the beginning in the intro over here. People feel free to look at that one. It was created by Manway. Like I said, we don't have time for today. We'll probably be wrapping up here pretty soon. But thank you again, Finwe and Freya, and everyone who's involved in this, Rogan Jahara, Baka, Lamia, for putting this together. This was I know I was reading the Discord chats about this for literally months of you guys working on this stuff. So thank you so much for putting this together. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Hopefully you learned something. If you didn't, go back and read the survey again. But without further ado, I think we'll probably be ending it there unless anyone's got some parting shots they want to shoot. No? All right. Yeah. Well, then, it was good to see you guys again. We say this every time, but we should really do another one soon. But hopefully there's something new to talk about next time. But with that...
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Finway.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for taking the time for this. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.